Awesome. How you doing?
Good. I'm Alex. I run a Instagram page and Instagram Love Sugar show. So I just wanted to say hello, introduce myself, and thank you for taking the time for doing this interview.
Right on. Thanks. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I like your shirt in the background, the Nest 24.
Yeah, they got the Nashville Predators. I guess they play at this Bridgestone Arena where we just played at, and they gave that to us as a gift.
Oh,
Everyone
that's
there was super nice. It was like the nicest staff of any place I've ever been. It was incredible.
well, that's awesome to hear. It's good to know at least, they're very welcoming. I've heard that many times from people who come visit. So that's good to know.
Yeah, it's for real. And I think someone said they even won like an award for being the best staff like in the country or something. And I believe it because they really were over the top nice. Everyone was.
Well, that's awesome to hear. But we'll go ahead and get started. How's your day going so far?
Awesome. Got up, took care of most of the duties today, and now I've just got a couple interviews and then I'm gonna shoot a music video later. So it's gonna be a fun full day of working on promoting the record.
Yeah, that sounds like a great day. Are we allowed to ask anything about the music video or get like
Well,
any sort
sure.
of
Yeah. Yeah. Ask whatever you want. If I can't answer it, I'll be honest. I'll be like, hey, I can't talk about that. But yeah, nothing to hide here.
can you tell us a little about the song for the music video and what's kind of going to
It's
be what we can see in the music video?
well, I don't know what we're gonna see. I know that the song is Plasticine, which is the final song off Endeavors,
Hmm.
and I have no idea what the premise or I just know they're gonna basically film me playing it a couple times, hopefully only a couple times, but maybe 20 times. But you never know. I've shot some music videos where you seriously sit there and play it for hours and hours, the same song, or till it's the point where like, geez, please get the shots so we can get on with it. But this should only take an hour a day or so, hopefully. And
Hmm.
but I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you what it's going to be about, or if they'll just have live footage synced in. Because we did get a
Hmm.
lot of live footage. So
Okay, so it's going to be a surprise for everyone. That's even more exciting because then you don't know what to expect and we don't either.
right, true.
So how do you feel now that the album's completed?
Well, I'm relieved that it's finally coming out. It's been complete for a very long time, honestly. Well, at least by Nest standards, it is. But it feels great to finally be able to play a lot of these songs because honestly, we thought this would come out last year, and maybe even last summer we were expecting it. So we started playing a couple songs from the record live, and
Hmm.
then some things didn't turn out the way they were supposed to, and it got delayed. And then we're like, well, these songs have already been played live, so I guess these are the ones we'll continue to play. But now it's like now I can play some other new ones. That's what I'm excited about. Our big show Wednesday is playing a couple new songs from Endeavors that we've never played before. So I'm excited
That's
about
exciting. Especially since already played those songs live, and you're like, now I have more freedom to explore other songs instead of the same ones.
it. Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of pigeonholed like, oh gosh. And honestly, I wouldn't have played those live if I would have known that the album wasn't coming out until April 12th, 2024. I would have waited patiently. But
Yeah. So what was the inspiration behind this album?
well, we got an email asking if we'd want to be interested in being on Housecore. And of course, I was very interested and got very inspired that day. Wrote a couple songs, and then the next day, more and more. And then within the week, the whole record's done. It
Oh
was
wow,
really,
that's sick.
the spark was the email, and then a lot of things happened throughout that week, and then all the music was done by that point, and then of course you got to go to lyrics and vocals, and that took a bit longer to finish. But
Mhm.
really, the all the music was done within a week and recorded, so it all started from just being okay. We're going to be on this record label. Time to get to work, you know. So it was really inspiring to have someone back us, get behind us.
Mhm. Oh yeah, for sure. That definitely sounds like a real inspiration, especially if you're like, oh, okay, I'm just checking my email. Like, this is awesome.
Oh yeah, it was a day. I was like, oh my god, it's like this is it's a great opportunity, to have their backing. It's a big deal. So
Hmm.
and I wanted to ask them a million times, but I wouldn't have felt it wouldn't have felt right. You know what I mean? Because I think they probably been like, sure, we'll put your album on, and
Yeah.
then, but I think it's the way it's going is great because they they seem to like the band and they like all the bands that they work with. So, and we're all unique in our own way. We all don't really fit in anywhere.
Hmm.
So it's nice to have a home at housecore to to be able to do what we want.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, well, that's really awesome. I have done a lot of interviews and haven't heard that before. So, I mean, that sounds like a great day. It's just like meant to be, it sounds like, for both of you.
For sure.
So, is there a theme behind the album? Because I know, like, on the album cover, it kind of looks apocalyptic, kind of, or maybe a riot happened.
Yeah, there was actually a show we played in New Orleans, one of our first shows. I think it was our second show we ever played. And like 200 people showed up out of nowhere. And it was just wild uh, mosh pits. And I mean, my mic stand's getting thrown over. It was, they're throwing stuff at the drummer. But it was fun and an insane, like, high school house party out in the woods, where everyone had to park on the back roads and then no one can leave because everything's blocked and no one can get through. It was like that. And then at one point they burned two cars down and there was actually burning cars and crashed car. And it was just like, this is insane. And the fire department had to come shut the show down. And so it kind of, when that artwork was presented, it immediately I thought of that show and that image of I took a cool picture of the burning cars. And I
Hmm.
thought of that, and I was like, well, this will be perfect artwork.
Yeah. Is that, I mean, for us who haven't seen you guys live, is that like a normal type of show that people can expect, or is this like a one-off that doesn't
No,
normally happen?
that was a very special show because I think a lot of people hadn't been to a show in a year or so. It was right out of COVID when COVID was just getting over, and
Hmm.
it was outdoors to where people felt safe. If you don't want to get in people's face, go stand by the train tracks. You'll be able to watch the show. And it was at a
Hmm.
skate park where you could skate away on your roller skates if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So it was really cool, and I think I don't think it would have mattered what we played, honestly. Yeah, that's what I told the band. I was like, because they were very nervous. I was like, listen, they've never heard us. They don't care what we play. They're just happy to be out of the house. And I was right. They were just like they were insane. There's some video on YouTube of it. It's pretty cool.
Gonna have to go find that for sure later. So how does this album compare to previous albums you've done, like the two other ones?
Well, I'd say I've kind of just tightened the screws on everything. I have kind of a formula, and I have this idea of what I think a great album is, and
Hmm.
I maybe keep trying to make it better each time, and instead of really changing up the the formula, just kind of sticking with it and trying to make it better. And I think on this record, I did. I didn't try to write huge epic songs or anything. I just, stick with pretty much what I do and just try to make it better. And that's what I guess, try to keep doing in the future. I'll try to make a
Mhm.
better record next time. It might not be, but I'm going to try.
Yeah, for sure. Can you kind of tell me like a little bit behind your formula that you use?
Well, well, my idea for a perfect record, for Ness is what I do is I like to have a ballad song in there.
Hmm.
They're not all ballads, just one ballad in there. And then I like to have some really fast, brutal, almost death metal type guitar riff songs. I like to have some slow, shoegazy type songs like Hum. I like to have some helmet type, bouncy hip hop drum beats on
Hmm.
some songs. And then, there's always that, okay, you get to the end and you're like, now I need an ender. I need a cool closer for the album. So I kind of try to map it out.
Hmm.
But then as you get going through, you get to like song 6 or 7, and you're just kind of like, you just say, all right, this is what this album's going to sound like. And you kind of be like, all right, I can't write another one like this. And one
Hmm.
song I always like to have on every record is what I like to call the banana song, where it's
Ooh.
kind of like a banana, 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 banana. It's like a skank beat type, hardcore, punky, I guess,
Hmm.
drum beat and guitar riff. And then usually it starts like a circle pit. So it's like you got to have a circle pit song on every record. And I try to, you know, and I guess is some of that's inspired from old Metallica records I like
Hmm.
they'd always have like a fade to black on there. And then, and Justice for All comes out and they got one. And the Black album comes out and they got, Nothing Else Matters. They always had a ballad.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of stole that from.
Well, I think it's a really good roadmap. I mean, you kind of have something in there for everybody. So I think that's awesome.
Right.
So was there a song on the album that was the hardest to write or the easiest?
Well, I'd say always the first one is always probably the hardest because you got to have that inspiration to kick it off, you
Hmm.
know. And then you get to the point where you're like, you don't want to write it for somebody else. You just got to be like, all right, I think this guitar riff's cool, you know.
Yeah.
I can't like sit and think like I hope the Nest fans really like this riff. I don't know what people like.
Hmm.
I don't know what you like. I couldn't tell you what you're into. But I just try to write cool stuff that I would say, okay, I would listen to that and say, oh, that's not too bad,
Yeah.
So I try to, I ain't trying to write Steve Vai and I ain't gonna do guitar tapping, try to impress anyone because I'm not better than any of those guys or girls. Like I saw Nia Strauss the other night and she can really shred, you know.
Yeah.
Like I can't touch that girl. She can really play. And I ain't gonna try. I'm gonna stick to what I can do.
For sure. Would you say the first song kind of sets the vibe for the whole album as well, or is it just kind of just getting started that makes it harder?
Yeah, I think I kind of like I mentioned earlier, the kickoff song has got to be some kind of makes you somewhat interested in keeping on listening. Faith No More album of the year comes to mind, where it just kicks off with collision. It's like right off the bat, it's just
Hmm.
jamming. It's like, oh, it wasn't expecting to start singing right off the bat. Like that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
stuff like that makes you want to listen to the song to the rest of the album, at least for me.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially when I hear an album for the first time and I hear it's like if we're going off, like the beat's good, I'm like, it's like the hook, like you're intrigued, like I want to see what else is next. And then the next song, you're like, okay, I'll listen to one more. And by the end, you're at the end of the album. So what I did when I listened to your album. It's like this song is good. Let's go to the next one. I'm like, that album was good.
Right on. It's
So I'm
planned.
sure fans are gonna be very excited to listen to it for sure.
Yeah, I hope so. That's the plan.
So with the album cover Endeavors, where did that come from? Was that inspired by the email at all?
Well, the cover, it was done by Sean Knight. He's the singer for Child Bite and Shack Narcotic. And he's
Mm-hmm.
always done a bunch of cool artwork. And if you look at both of those bands, all their t-shirts are cool, all their album covers, he does all of that. So he's really good. So I wanted to work with him. And he had looked at some of the stuff that we had already put out and said, hey, I can kind of mix your vibe with kind of what this other idea I got. And that's what he came, well, the one of the idea, he had a bunch of ideas. And
Mm-hmm.
that was like I mentioned earlier, that was just the one that I said, all right. It reminded me of that Nest show. And
Mm-hmm.
I said, let's just go with that one. I like it.
What about the title, the album name? Where did that come from?
It just one, a lot of times I'll see or hear words and write them down. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of a writing lyrics, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to use the same words from the lyrics as the song title. I think it's too easy, the easy way out. You know what I mean? Uh, but that was just one of them that was sticking around that it didn't really work for any of the song titles, and it kind
Mm-hmm.
of felt like we're leading up to something kind of, this is like our big record, and I guess the endeavors along the way, it's hasn't been very easy for Nest, I gotta say. So it's been a long road, and yeah, like when we started, we couldn't even play shows. Like I said, it took a while before we could play that show in New Orleans. For a while, we
Mm-hmm.
wondered if we could ever play a show, but we just kept, practicing anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, the album, the name, just it was one that I had sticking around. I was like, this would just be a cool album title. I just no major. I didn't say this is a concept or anything. It just a cool word, I think. Really.
Yeah, it kind of just sounds like it kind of just fell into place, especially if you already had it in mind and you're like, oh, this doesn't work with anything else. Let's put it on the album. I think it's a great album title, honestly. It intrigued me when I saw it.
Right on. Thank you.
So what's your favorite song on the album?
I was mentioning the other day that I think Plasticine is my favorite on the record. And at a band practice a couple of weeks back, I was surprised that the band had learned the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of thrown off that, I hadn't practiced it since I recorded it. I remembered the riffs and stuff very quickly, but I didn't remember the words. So I'm just like making up stuff. But I'm just really listening to the band and being impressed with them. And they did the same thing at the last practice too, where they're like, "Hey, well, there's this other new song on the new record, but we should play that." And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know the words to that either. It's like, so now I'm like relearning my own songs from Endeavors, which was, I mean, it's been about 2 years since I think I recorded that. It seems like forever. So it's great to go back, and now I'm all right. I better learn the songs because we're playing them next week.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's very exciting for me. It's like, all right, this is like having the band say, all right, I'm excited about these new songs. Let's play these. That's
Mm-hmm.
good. That's good to hear instead of taking the easy way out and be like, let's just stick to the set and just play the same old the hits.
Right.
Exciting that they're like, hey, let's jam some new ones. So that's what I'm actually doing tomorrow. I'm really excited about band practice to play some new songs.
Yeah. How do you feel when you are playing new songs live for the first time for your fans?
Usually nervous, and especially if it's one of the slower ones.
Hmm.
And even if it's like if it's a one off one of the older records that we've never played live, I'll get nervous because I just don't know how people are going to react. But
Hmm.
I've learned that I'm never going to know how they're going to react because we'll play a death metal show like we played a death metal fest, and we were the only band that wasn't just straight death metal. And
Hmm.
I was kind of nervous, like they're gonna kill us. And so I was like,
Right.
we gotta play all our heavy songs. And I was like, well, we'll put one slow song in the middle just so it's just not all the same pace. We'll break it up with one slow song. And of course, the first few rippers, people are just standing there acting like they're not into it. And I'm getting pretty nervous. And we
Yeah.
go, so then I'm like, oh no, the slow song's coming. This is bad. This is going to be real bad. We go into
Hmm.
the slow song and they start this mosh pit. And now the whole crowd's in a mosh pit. I'm just, this makes no sense at all. Like, I'll never understand. So that's when I started trying to cater really to the show because it's like it never works if I try to.
Yeah.
We just got to be ourselves and play what we got.
So how shocked were you when people were just standing there and then the slow song comes on and you're like, oh my gosh, I just started a mosh pit.
I remember looking at the drummer being like, are you seeing this? Like, this makes no sense. It really does not make sense, but it's what they did. It was great.
Yeah, talking about fans, do you have a prediction of what will be the fan favorite off the album? No pressure or anything, but
Oh, oh, you never know. But there's one, I guess the second track has a lot of double bass on the drums. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure the entire song is just double bass pedal. So if
Mhm.
there's any drummers out, endurance drummers out there, that'll be their favorite one to try and play and learn. But there's one called Burn Clean that I'm going to predict it will be the big hit after all. It's like that's the ballad
Mhm.
of the record, and that's another one I think in the future we'll throw in the set too. So
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys have a lot of good things coming up as far as shows and the album releasing on, just a few days here. I mean, that's a lot of stuff so far.
yeah, the big tour starts Wednesday and goes. We got 18 shows in a row. Uh, we're playing some very interesting places. We got a dispensary. I don't know if you have ever been to a dispensary before, but there's legal marijuana there in Oklahoma,
Oh,
and
fun.
somehow we're playing. I think it's fucking great. Uh, I guess in the back there's a warehouse. I don't know if that's where they grow it or what, but that's where we're doing a show. And then we're also playing in Flagstaff at a hotel, the
Oh,
Hotel
wow.
Monte Vista. And I looked it up. It like looks like a really nice hotel. It's like they must have some kind of ballroom or something where they throw shows on. But
Yeah.
I've never played a dispensary or a hotel before, so and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. I don't think I've ever heard any band tell me that they're playing at either of those. I mean, a dispensary just sounds like not somewhere I would think a concert would be, but hey,
No, it'll probably be a big line for the dispensary, and they can maybe they'll hear the music and say, "Hey, let's check out the show."
exactly. It sounds like a chill concert.
Right, we better play all slow songs that night.
So I do have one final question here for you. Is there any message that you would like to give your fans, your old ones, new ones, anyone that's interested in listening to the album or coming to a live show?
I'd just like to say thanks for checking it out. I know there's a lot of bands, a lot of releases every week, a lot of things that get you know swept under the carpet, and it's people got short attention spans, so just taking a few minutes out to listen to the record means a lot. Luckily the new Nest record I think is very short. It's probably by the time you get to work you'll have listened to the whole record, so it's nice, easy, quick listen, and
Mhm.
you should check it out because it comes out April 12th on Housecore Records.
For sure. Well, thank you so much again for taking your time for doing this interview. For everyone else who wants to grab the record, it does come out on April the 12th. And I mean, this artwork background is really cool. So I would buy the CD just for the artwork. So I want to thank you again for taking your time for doing this interview.
Right on. Thanks. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Take care.